Yes. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bersama kembali dalam ANSARA Muda Higher Education Talk Series pada hari ini dengan tajuk Study Abroad Tips in Ireland. Eloklah kita membuka majlis kita dengan Ummul Kitab Al-Fatihah. Okey, baiklah. Sebelum kita mulakan majlis, ingin saya ucapkan ucapan ribuan terima kasih kepada rakan strategi ANSARA Taiping, Unit Bimbingan Counselling MRSM Taiping, Amans Media, TNF Energi Sediaan Berhad dan Artpus Taiping. Hari ini kita bersama dengan Encik Hazwan bin Zainal Abidin, iaitu merupakan third year student in Bachelor of Medicine, Surgery and Obstetrics in University College Dublin in Ireland. Okey, baiklah, tanpa membuang masa, saya jemput Abang Hazwan untuk sampaikan perkongsian beliau. Dipersilakan.
Terima kasih Arif. Kejap saya nak share screen. Semua boleh nampak ke?
Boleh.
Alright, okay. So yeah, first of all, thank you to the moderators and also to the teachers and as well as ANSARA Muda for having me here today. I think firstly, I'd like to congratulate everyone on receiving their results today. This must be a very exciting day for all of you. You guys have worked hard and today you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Okay, so today, this talk is structured to be more of a conversation. I won't be spending too much time on my own slides, and I hope that the participants today will be able to submit questions so that I can provide answers to questions that you really want to know. So I guess we'll begin right after I finish my SPM or after I got my results. So that was back in 2016 in MRSM Taiping. Alhamdulillah, I got straight A's, and back then I haven't really decided that I wanted to do medicine, but what I knew back then was that I wanted to do something in science, and I didn't want to do anything related to economics or engineering or finance and the like. So I was looking for a way for me to discover what it was that I enjoy, while also providing me with some sense of security in terms of what I wanted to do next. So after going through a couple of scholarship options, I settled upon the Mara Young Talent Program. So I think we were lucky in that year in the sense that we did not have to settle on a program from the get-go, meaning that you can apply for a scholarship and just say that you want to do something in science, for example, or you want to do something in engineering, for example. You don't have to say that, oh, I wanted to do a program in biochemistry, for example, or mechanical engineering. You can just commit to a general field and apply for the scholarship. So that was what I did. I applied for the Mara Young Talent Program under the IB Science category, and I studied the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program for 2 years. And then during the course of my IB studies, I found out that I really wanted to do medicine. So yeah. So the reason why Mara sent us to study the IB is because we needed to fulfill some requirements before starting our studies at the university. And that generally entails studying a pre-university course. In my case, it was the International Baccalaureate, but some people, they studied the A-levels and some people studied OSMAT or the matriculation. It really depends on what your sponsors decided. In my case, my sponsors decided that we need to study the IB before applying for UCD. I guess I can share a little bit about how it was like for us when we went through the interview process for the Mara Scholarship, right? So I think there was 2 components to the interview. The first one is a face-to-face group interview. And under the heading of group interview, there were 2 tasks that we needed to complete. The first one is, I think we had to build a bridge using spaghetti sticks that's enough to sustain the weight of a few books. And the second part of the group interview was just normal talking interview session, but it was held in a group setting. The second part of the interview is a written test. So this is generally just to gauge or to test your mathematical and science aptitude. The questions are generally just related to science and mathematics. If you did well in your SPM, then generally I don't think you would struggle answering those tests. So yeah. So after I did my IB, we proceeded to start applying for the university, because one thing you need to bear in mind if you find yourself enroll in any scholarship program is that it is not a guarantee for you to have a spot at the university. For example, if you are under Mara, you will still have to apply to those universities yourselves, and you also need to reach the requirements that those individual institutions or universities require. So what you see right now is the requirements for the RUMC program at University College Dublin. What they all have in common is that if you're looking to do medicine, you will need to study at least 3 science subjects. So mathematics is also counted as a science subject. So during IB, I did this combination of subjects. At higher level, I studied biology, chemistry, and Malay literature. At standard level, I studied economics, mathematics, and English. And because I did the IB program, we also had to do the extended essay and the theory of knowledge essay. So for each subject, the highest score that you can get is 7. So you study 6 subjects. So the maximum point you can get from exams only is 42 points. And to get the maximum point, which is 45 points, you need to do well in your extended essay and theory of knowledge. People often contrast international baccalaureate with the A levels because you really can do either or if you're looking to study medicine. But it depends on your personal inclination and what you like. If you feel like you're someone who is exam oriented and you do well with standardized tests, then I guess A levels will be much more suited for you because while they cover more in-depth material than the International Baccalaureate, they do not require you to submit any internal assignments or any extended essays. So you can really just focus on your studies. Whereas the IB, you only study in depth your higher level subjects, and you study your standard level subjects at a more surface level. So you would have to engage in a lot more writing and a lot more researching. So this would suit for people who their skill set includes not only studying for exams, but also like researching and writing. The IB is a confusing program to explain. So if you're confused, just ask me questions and I can walk you through it. But yeah, so on to what I do in right now, basically, which is medicine in RUMC. So RUMC stands for RCSI UCD Malaysia Campus. So it's called a transnational degree program. I think you might be more familiar with the term twinning program, but the term twinning is not actually accurate because both campuses are under the same institution. But those are just words. So what it means is that half of your degree will be conducted in Dublin and half will be conducted in Penang. So right now I'm just starting my 3rd year of the degree program. So I'm still in Dublin and still in my pre-clinical years. So this is related to the point where you see a trend in recent years that there have been less and less scholarships available for students that want to study medicine abroad or even locally, actually. So I think the point where it's cost effective might be relevant to some of you if you think that you want to go down the route where you want to self-sponsor your studies. Because if you are enrolled in RUMC, you will graduate with an Irish medical degree from the National University of Ireland at a fraction of the cost, because half of the program is being conducted in Malaysia. So you don't have to pay Irish fees for 5 years for this. So you only need to pay Irish fees in euro for the first half of your degree program. And the qualification that you'll get from the university is equal to the one that you will get if you're studying or if you study in Ireland full time. And another perk of studying in Dublin is that it's close to the UK and also to continental Europe. So flights to and from destinations around Europe, for example, Spain, Germany, Switzerland, France, England, Scotland are very cheap, and it's a good location to be if you're looking to also travel around Europe while you're studying, or if you're in your summer break. So this is just some pictures showing you the UCD campus. So this is the Health Sciences Library. This is actually the top floor of the library. This is where we go to study. If you need some work done, it's a very nice spot, especially when it's sunny. This is the debating chamber of the university. It's modeled after the House of Commons. It's also used for events. The Malaysian Society also used this as a meeting place, and also as a practice venue for Malaysian night, which is a night where we put on performances, eat Malaysian food, and just generally get together with the Malaysian community in UCD. So these are just some pictures of me and my friends in Dublin. So on the far left, that's me after finishing a dissection practical, I think. The middle one is before COVID, obviously, but it's an Ireland Pasamalam kind of event. So this is a property of the Malaysian embassy in Ireland, I think. So they invited Malaysians, not just students, just Malaysians who are living in Dublin at the time, and whether and if they wanted to sell something, for example, mostly food, they would provide a stall for you to sell those foods, and you will see Malaysians from all over Ireland would gather at these sort of events. So it's really nice to see other Malaysians, and also be able to taste food from home. And on the far right, you'll see, that's my friend. There's this place in Dublin called Phoenix Park. And if you go there, you'll see deers running around, roaming freely, and you can pet them and you can feed them. So that's fun. Yeah, so more about my degree program, or degree structure. So there are 3 pathways to study medicine in RUMC. The first one is if you do the foundation in science at RUMC. So you'll study for about a year in Penang. You can also get into the program through the A-levels, STPM, IBDP route, which is what I did. And you would need to score at least 36 points to further your studies in Ireland. And also I think there are scholarship opportunities provided by RUMC itself for top performing students. So yeah, I might be missing some important infos that you might want to know. So if I am missing infos, just submit them as questions, and I'll deal with them at the end of this presentation. But here is an overview of the medical curriculum. Yeah. So in your preclinical years, you'll study basic medical sciences with some general introduction to clinical practice. You'll learn how to take history, you'll learn how to observe vital signs, and you'll learn to diagnose some common illnesses that you'll deal with on a very frequent basis in your practice as a doctor. And when you come back to Malaysia in year 3, you'll be entering the wards, you will be focusing solely on clinical practice, and you'll be on rotation in the Penang Hospital, Taiping Hospital, and I think some clinics around Penang and Perak. So I think one advantage of doing your medical degree like this is that some diseases that you'll encounter in Malaysia are not seen in Western Europe or in Western countries. For example, dengue fever is not usually seen in Western Europe, so there is less emphasis on how to manage those kinds of diseases. So if you do your degrees like this and spend your clinical years in Malaysia, then you have the advantage of being able to experience the facilities abroad while studying your preclinical subjects, but also have the experience in dealing with more local diseases and ailments. And if you do end up studying at RUMC, you'll actually be allocated between two universities in Dublin. So University College Dublin and the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. UCD is more of a classic university campus, while RCSI is more of a city campus, meaning that UCD is you can see it's within a gated area for the university, while RCSI, their campus is scattered throughout the Dublin city center. And there are slight differences between studying at UCD and RCSI. So generally, the culture of studying in UCD is that students are a lot more independent, and they don't have classes as often as they do in RCSI. In a week, if you're in year 1 or year 2 in UCD, then it's not uncommon to have days where you don't have classes at all. So you're just expected to use that time to study on your own. But if you study at RCSI, then it's not uncommon to have 9 to 5 days or 8 to 5 days every day from Monday to Friday. But both are equally good. Both campuses care for their students and they provide quality teaching all around. So this is what I was talking about earlier, right? Because I haven't checked the offering for sponsorship by Mara this year. I encourage you to do so after this, but I think the trend that I mentioned earlier of there being less and less scholarships being offered for students that want to study medicine is still occurring. So I don't think they would offer a similar program to your batch like they did to mine. So but I might be wrong. But you'll need to check those. You'll need to check the Mara website to see the latest info. But what I'm showing here is the scholarship provided by RUMC itself, by the institution itself. So, but the caveat here is that you won't be able to apply for these scholarships using your SPM results. So you would need to study either A-levels, STPM, or IBDP for you to be able to apply to these scholarships. So let's say you study A-levels under the, let's say, Bank Negara bursary, for example, and then you scored and you do well at A-levels and you got AAA, and then you can use those results to apply for the RUMC scholarship. So there are two classes of scholarship. The first one is a full scholarship, and as you can imagine, this would be the most competitive. The second one is a partial scholarship where they cover or they waive 20% or 15% of your fees at the university. As you might notice, the requirement for these two scholarships are the same. And that's because they'll offer you different scholarships based on how well you perform at your interview. So if you do well at your interview, you might get the full scholarship. If you, let's say, if other people perform better than you, then you might be offered the 20% scholarship. But this is just one of the many scholarships available. But yeah, scholarships to do medicine are quite rare nowadays. But there are people that are studying with me. I think they're under the STAR Education Scholarship. STAR as in the newspaper. So you might want to look that up. I don't think like the major scholarship providers such as Bank Negara or Khazanah offers students to do medicine abroad anymore, but I might be wrong. But every year it's usually just Mara that offers scholarship for students to do medicine abroad. But yeah, look around, you'll never know what you'll find. Okay, so this is continuing on what I said earlier on how there have been less and less scholarships offered for people that want to study medicine abroad. So, so number one, you need to decide whether you want to do medicine or you want to study abroad. Because if your main goal is to study abroad, just so that you can travel, just so that you can experience studying in a new country, then there are other pathways that are easier and also a lot more abundant for you to do so. As you can probably tell by now, you'll find a lot of scholarships for engineering, for accounting, for finance, economics, and the like. If your goal is to experience studying abroad, then it doesn't hurt to consider other fields as well, or even studying biochemistry, biomedical science, or any other science subjects. If your aim is to just study abroad, then there's a lot of ways to do that. But if your goal is that you want to study medicine, then do not rule out studying medicine at a local university. Because if your goal is that you want to be a doctor, if you study something else, then it will be very hard for you to become a doctor. So, and of course, the ideal situation would be, like for some people, is that they want to study abroad and also do medicine. But given the current situation, that might not be possible. So you need to ask yourself whether you want to study medicine or whether you just want to study abroad. Because if you just want to study abroad, but you have some interest in medicine, then consider doing other science subjects such as biomedical science, biochemistry, etc. But if you want to study medicine and the only offers you can get are from local institutions and universities, then I'd say go for those offers instead of feeling that you're missing out on the experience of studying abroad. Because here's the thing, you can still study and work abroad after you graduate, or if you go on an exchange program. So I have a couple of friends that told me they regret not going for a medical program when they wanted to be when their ambition is to be a doctor, or when their goal is to become a doctor, because they wanted to study full-time abroad. They wanted to study their whole degree abroad, so they ended up doing psychology, biomedical science, and the like. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you want to do medicine, then I say prioritize that over studying abroad. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, then you can ask me questions. Number two, where do you plan to practice? where do you plan to practice? Where do you plan to work as a doctor? So if you're only planning to practice in Malaysia, then any local university will suit you, because the major local universities like USM, UKM, UITM, and the like, their medical degrees are recognized by the Malaysian Medical Council and also several medical councils around the world. But you won't be having any problem applying to become a doctor if you hold a degree from those universities. The whole issue with placements for housemanship is another issue, but generally speaking, if you graduate from a Malaysian university, then your degree will be accepted to apply for accreditation and placement. But if you have dreams or ambitions of working in the UK, for example, or working in Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, then you might want to consider studying at local universities that offer degrees that are recognized by by the medical councils of said countries, because medicine is a professional program. If you want to work as a doctor in any country, you would need to be registered with their medical council. For example, if you want to work as a doctor in England, then you'll need to be registered you need to be registered with the BMC, which is the British Medical Council, and they have a list of institutions that they recognize. So yeah, so you can still plan to work abroad while studying locally, because some local universities, for example, the Malaysian branch of the Newcastle University, their degrees are accepted by the British Medical Council, by the Irish Medical Council, and also the Australian Medical Council, I think. So what my point is that even if you study locally, you can still work abroad after you graduate. So in my case, an added advantage of studying in RUMC is that even though I will finish my program in Penang, my degree will be counted as if I graduate from Ireland. So if you're looking to work in Ireland, for example, you'll need to apply to go on to join the internship program, which is the housemanship program in Ireland. They call it an internship placement. So if you hold a degree from outside Ireland, you will be deprioritized down the list. But if you hold an Irish medical degree, you will be higher up the list, and therefore your chances of getting a place to work in Ireland is higher. But that is only for Ireland. I don't think it's the same in Britain or the UK. I think they have a different system. I think you need to sit the professional licensing examination if you want to work in the UK. And you can still do that if you study locally. And of course, number 3 is medicine for you? Because I think that although it's a bit better now, I think there's a pressure for students. If they perform well, then they feel like they have to do medicine, or they have to do engineering, or they have to do a science subject and the like. So especially with medicine, if you're not looking to become a doctor, if you're not looking to practice medicine clinically, then medicine might not be the best choice for you. Why? For example, if your interest is in research and you want to research new drugs, if you want to research new treatments, then you'll be better off studying biomedical science, for example, because you'll be solely focused on the sciences If you study medicine and you're not interested in it, then you will feel the burden of having to study for the clinical aspects of medicine. For example, history taking, procedures, and one of the distinctions of medicine and other science subjects is that medicine is focused on the applications of the current technology. So you will not be learning chemistry, physics in depth if you're studying medicine. Your focus is diagnosing illnesses and what treatments are available for you to choose from. If you like research, if you like discovering new things, then studying biomedical science might be a better choice. Or some people, they say that they want to study medicine because they're interested in drugs, or they're interested in drug developments, or they say that they think that the chemistry of drugs is very, very cool and interesting. Then you might want to consider pharmacy instead, because if you study pharmacy, then you'll spend 4 years studying drug therapies. You learn the mechanism of action, the pharmacokinetics, the development, and everything. If you study medicine, then you only spend 1 semester studying drugs. So it is not the best option if you say you want to study medicine because you're interested in how they use and develop or the chemistry of drugs, for example. So yeah, I think that marks the end of my presentation. I look forward to hearing some questions. Yeah.
Okay, so actually I have another question for you. So macam kita tahu sekarang ada yang pelajar, diorang masih ada fobia terhadap darah bila kita buat dissection, and also another anatomy in human body. So do you think they should go in medicine?
I'll say that phobia darah tu is a big drawback lah kalau you're planning to study medicine. Sebab within your first week of medical studies, you'll have to operate on a dead body, on a cadaver. So masuk minggu first pun you have to deal with those sort of things dengan bodily fluids, darah, and everything. But I don't want to say that you cannot take medicine. Like, you know yourself. So if you feel like that's something you boleh overcome and you can deal with, then why not? But it is a big drawback if you feel like you cannot deal with blood or tak boleh tengok bodily fluids, because from the get-go you will have to deal with those things. Hope that makes sense.
All right. Next question. So what actually your exciting experience in Ireland?
Oh, okay. So first off, I think that Ireland is one of the most friendliest countries in the EU, even more friendlier than contohnya the UK, and definitely more friendlier than Sweden, Switzerland, and the like. Macam if you go to a bus stop, or if you're on the bus, or if you're in the supermarket, it's not uncommon for people to go and say hi to you and generally have small talk with you, and they're generally warm people. So I think that's a big plus if especially if you're a foreigner, like if you study there, you are a foreigner, or if you're international students, because then you'll feel welcome there. And I know that around, and it's also a plus because if right now macam kita tengok there's a rising tide of Islamophobia, and macam in certain countries, some people there might be hostile to orang yang baru datang, for example, but it's not that case. But that's not the case in Ireland. In fact, Ireland is, depending on who you ask, is the most pro-Palestinian country in the EU or the most anti-Israel country in the EU. So yeah, so that's a big plus, like friendly people, very welcoming country. Another thing that I'd say is the island of Ireland is very beautiful. Sebab the city center is they only have one major metropolitan center. So just Dublin je yang betul-betul bandar. The rest of the country is almost rural. So they have a lot of natural parks. You can go kayaking, you can go surfing, you can go diving, you can go hiking because the weather is temperate and so it'll generally be a more pleasant experience. And so that's the second thing, beautiful country. And the third thing is in terms of your extracurricular participation. I can't speak for those yang study in other universities lah. But I study in UCD. So in UCD, you'll have a lot of sports societies, sports clubs, general interest societies to choose from. If you're good at badminton, you can join badminton. If you're good at swimming, you can join swimming. If you're good at sepak takraw, they have a sepak takraw club here as well, and they go to tournaments and you can represent your uni. If you're a debater, you can join the debating society in UCD. It's the oldest student society, the oldest and the biggest student society in Ireland, and you'll get to go to competitions and they'll pay for your travel and stuff. So basically free holidays. Yeah, and I think that the last thing that I would say, apa yang best ni study dekat Dublin is that in UCD, the lectures are very approachable. If you need something, they'll welcome you into their offices, and they have been receiving Malaysian students for years now, so they know the culture a bit. And yeah, and they're very friendly. Yeah.
Okay, next question. How about the living costs at Ireland?
Okay, so this might be one of the, I wouldn't say drawbacks, I'd say challenges studying in Dublin. Dublin is the most expensive city in the EU, especially the rent in Dublin. But if you're here atas ticket sponsorship or under scholarship program, then your living costs will be catered for. Then and cukup je lah. As long as you know how to budget yourself properly, as long as you know how to manage your money, tak spend on unnecessary things. Because if you're studying abroad, the most important thing is learning how to manage your money, because you'll be responsible for your own food, for your own accommodation, for your own needs. So your sponsor will only give you a set amount of money each month, and then they say that, and it's up to you to manage your money. So kalau pandai urus duit, pandai budget, then you'll be fine. Yep.
Okay. Soalan daripada Muhammad Bari. How big was the culture shock when you are in Ireland?
Not that big, to be honest, because okay, let me rephrase that. Because sebab kita sekarang ni macam ada internet, ada Instagram, and most of us here pun, kalau kat Malaysia pun selalu tengok cerita Mak Saleh and everything. So you'll have an idea lah of what to expect bila pergi a Western country, and generally that idea is not far off. So bila sampai tak adalah kacau sangat sebab memang dah ada, generally dah ada lah apa yang kita expect. Oh, kalau pergi negara barat, oh macam ni. Cuma I think the most culture shock that I face is how friendly the people are here, because you don't expect them to be that friendly, but they're definitely friendlier than what you think. Macam tu. The Irish people. Yeah.
All right. Okay, next question from Alia Fahmi. If you graduate from Ireland, do you immediately get housemanship, or is it like Malaysia? Do you need to wait for a year?
Okay. Right now, like obviously you need to apply for housemanship lah. They call it internship here. So you need to apply for it. But it's generally shorter, and they're actually macam dorang encourage for Malaysians to apply to work there. So the process is a bit different lah, sebab kalau Malaysia, if you want to do your housemanship in Malaysia, then you will need to graduate. Dah lepas graduate, baru start the application process. So Remc usually dia akan graduate sometime around May, and then lepas tu boleh start application untuk housemanship kalau kat Malaysia. Tapi the reason why diorang graduate around May is that kalau you plan to work in Ireland, you would actually apply for your internship tu masa final year. Masa year 5 dah start application untuk internship dekat Ireland. Ni even if you're in Penang lah. So I'm speaking like if you're in Penang, but that's what I'm familiar with. So if you're in your fifth year dekat Penang, you will start applying for your internship, and then graduate May. By June dah tahu whether you are accepted or not. And if you are accepted, then I think you'll start in August macam tu. So graduate May, if you're accepted for internship, you'll start by August. Tapi kalau tak dapat, then of course you have to apply for internships kat Malaysia and other places. Yeah. Oh, and another thing, the reason why I said that Ireland need to encourage Malaysian graduates to apply for internship is that their own graduates usually pergi kerja dekat tempat lain, so they need people to fill in those jobs. Yeah.
Okay, so macam mana dengan Abang Hazwan? Adakah once you graduate, you will work locally or you will work at Ireland?
Oh, well, right now I'm in my 3rd year, so I still have 2 more years to decide. I'm keeping my options open. Like obviously it's ada desire to work in Malaysia, that because then you'll be closer to your family and you'll get to see them more regularly. But also sometimes I feel like I want to work overseas because of the higher pay and the different conditions. But yeah, but I haven't decided myself. Yeah.
Okay, next from Balkis Lima. How about IGCSE students? I'm not quite sure. So,
can you, Akis, boleh elaborate ke the question?
Okay, we go to another question. Malaysia memang hantar medic student ke Ireland je ke ada negara lain?
Okay, macam cakap tadi lah. Untuk tahun-tahun sebelum ni, diorang akan hantar ke Ireland atau ke UK. Tapi untuk keadaan semasa ni, I pun tak sure sebenarnya. Sebab macam cakap awal tadi lah, scholarship untuk medicine ni usually makin lama makin kurang. Every year dia makin berkurang, especially untuk ke abroad. Tapi from the experiences of myself dan juga macam rakan-rakan dalam batch lain, the places yang Mara sponsor is UK, Ireland, India. So those are the 3 countries lah yang I know Mara dah hantar students. Tapi yeah, for your batch, I cannot say for sure yang tu. And I think if you're studying medicine it's better to do it at a country yang language yang you dah familiar, which is English or Malay lah. Sebab kalau if you study in Russia, then you'll need to learn the language. If you study in France, then you need to learn French and the like. Yeah.
Okay, next question. If you decide to work at Ireland and then after a few years, can you change to work at Malaysia?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of doctors that graduate from Ireland or from Irish institutions, they'll work in Ireland up to a certain point. Usually sampai jadi consultant or sampai jadi pakar macam tu lah. And then they'll come back to Malaysia. Ada juga orang buat, diorang buat housemanship je dekat Ireland and then balik Malaysia. Sebab waiting time untuk buat housemanship kat Ireland tu lagi pendek daripada waiting time untuk buat housemanship dekat Malaysia. So some people do that. Some people diorang tunggu jadi pakar dulu and then baru balik Malaysia. Sebab a major reason why people do that is because I think in Malaysia, and then again, this is just from what I've heard, from what I've read, some of your parents might be doctors too, and they obviously know about this more than I am, but more than I do. But I think kalau dekat Malaysia, if you want to become a specialist, then you'll need to apply for a master's program or a training program under KKM or sit for a professional exam. And you need to apply for those things independently on your own. Tapi kalau dekat Ireland, the way it works is that right after your internship or housemanship, then you have to choose a specialty that you want to specialize in. For example, if you want to work in dermatology, so after housemanship, then you get on the dermatology track. Faham ke? So you'll be on the program or on the road to become whatever it is that you want to become lah after your housemanship, after your internship. Yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, you can work in Ireland and then come back in Malaysia with caveats, of course.
Alright. Soalan daripada Izzah. Dia tanya waktu time batch Abang Hazwan tu berapa ramai scholar Malaysia yang dapat pergi Ireland dalam mara punya tajaan?
This is actually an interesting question sebab masa dapat offer untuk buat IB, I think there were around 40 people from my college yang nak buat IB, yang nak buat medic. And out of those 40 people, I think 30 people je yang actually go to Ireland. And this is because like I said early on, that just getting into the preparation program is not a guarantee for you to have a spot at the university. You'll still need to study hard, you still need to perform at IB or A-levels or STPM or matrix or whatever it is that you do. So yeah, my batch, I think there's around 40 people combined from my college, which is College Maras Remban, and from Banting. Yeah, and that's for Ireland lah.
Okay, I think next we go to how actually you success in the interview of scholarship.
Well, number one is preparation lah. So like you're going, nak pergi interview medic, and then of course tak perlu bagi tahu pun, you need to search what medicine is all about. You need to search apa university dan yang you target nak pergi, and research the sponsoring organisation. Kalau Mara, kalau Khazanah, kalau Bank Negara, research what they're all about. It's very easy, just pergi website, tengok dia punya motto, vision, mission, macam tu. And then know the key figures lah. Kalau Mara tahu chairman siapa, kalau BNM tahu the top figures sana siapa, kalau Khazanah siapa. Just so that it'll show that you're not taking the program for granted, bukan sambil lewa. So it shows that you're coming to the interview to prepare. You know your stuff. So that's number one lah, preparation. Number 2 is that you'll need to work on your speaking skills and generally your confidence when talking to people. Because I think setengah students when they meet new people or when they meet interviewers, pegawai yang tinggi yang akan interview for your scholarship, they get nervous, and it's perfectly normal to feel that way, but it is something that you can manage, and the way you manage those feelings is simply through practice. When I was preparing for my medical school interview, I practiced for my interviews with my friends. So we will take turns to ask questions and answer questions. So you can do the same right now. Actually, you can just get a few friends together, like 3 or 4 people, and then prepare for interview. Because like anything, the more you practice, the better you'll get. That's it. And I think number 3 is that learn how to work in groups, because that was how it was during my time. It's very popular to have group interviews. I think it's still the same today. So you need to be able to work in groups. Of course, you don't want to be a wallflower. You don't want to be in the background. Sebab kalau you pergi scholarship interview, then by default you'll be in a room dengan ambitious people, orang yang macam they're very confident of themselves, and you should be too. But don't be overconfident to the point yang for example, you're given a group task nak buat jambatan pakai spaghetti sticks. Don't be someone yang tak boleh cooperate dengan orang lain. Don't be someone yang tak bagi peluang dekat orang yang cakap. Don't be someone yang kalau nampak orang tu senyap sikit terus ambil opportunity nak block dia boleh cakap. So be someone yang if you notice someone tu senyap sikit, be someone yang kata, can I know what you think? What you think about this? Be someone yang
Supportive.
Supportive. So interview tu nampak, oh dia ni someone yang boleh kerja dengan orang lain. Macam tu. Macam be a good team player.
Betul. I sokong itu. Okay, next from Iman Khalida. She asked that you got 3 Bachelor, Surgery, Medicine and Obstetrics. So can you elaborate about that?
Oh, itu sebenarnya naming convention je. Okay, so kalau if you notice, most degrees kat Malaysia, the nama dia MBBS ataupun MD. So MBBS stands for Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, MD Medical Doctor. So the short form from my program is MB-BCH-BAO. So Bachelor Medicine, Bachelor Surgery, Bachelor of Obstetrics. It's purely historical. I can get into why it's that way, but I don't think we have the time for that. Tapi macam basically content across these 3 nama medical degree sama je. It's just something yang historical lah. You can look it up actually. Yeah. Tapi sama je content.
Alright, I think that's all for today. There is no other questions.
Oh, actually, yang IGCSE tadi ada ni ke?
No.
Elaborate ke?
Belum lagi. Saya dah check dia tapi tak cakap belum, tak ada lagi elaborate dia.
Oh, okay. I can offer my thoughts lah kot.
Okay, boleh.
I assume all of you ni student MRSM typing, so you graduate dengan
Saya tak juga Hazwan. Saya rasa dia ni macam dia panggil seluruh MRSM dan kita panggil juga mana-mana yang berminat nak dengar.
Oh, okay. Then I get what you mean lah. Okay. Sebab during my time, some IGCSE students from MRSM yang buat IGCSE, if they perform well, dapat result bagus, I think around Form 4, then they actually get to leave MRSM awal and then start IB earlier. But they still have to go through the IB program or the A-level program, because you still cannot use your IGCSE results to apply to get into the medical program. Yeah, so I guess that's why the requirement for IGCSE students. Okay. Yeah, I think it's still the same because for IGCSE, I think it's O levels. So O levels dia roughly setara dengan SPM. Even though they take it earlier, tapi qualification tu setara dengan SPM. So still you need to score in your biochemistry, physics, and also your BM. I think at least C or C plus macam tu. Tapi because like you know that medicine is a competitive program, then you have a higher chance if you are the straight A's lah basically. But your result IGCSE or SPM company is just a result yang you guna untuk masuk ke pre-U punya program. And dan sebenarnya your result dekat pre-U tu yang akan determine whether you can do medicine or any other program.
Alright, I think there is last question. Hi Hazwan, Teacher Nurul is here.
Hi teacher.
Okay, can you share how to stay motivated, because it is very easy to get distracted when you study abroad?
Yeah, sure. It's true. It's very easy to get distracted if you study abroad. I think the number one tip to stay focused is to have a solid group of friends that you can rely on. Because to me, personally, like medicine is a team sport. If you study medicine, you'll need to have people that you can study with, that you can revise with, and generally keep you accountable. Some people sekolah dia dah biasa jadi lone wolf, dia macam someone yang dia study sendiri and then dia buat latihan sendiri and it worked for them, and macam dengan cara tu dia berjaya time SPM. But generally if you study medicine abroad, you need to have a solid group of friends yang ada the same goal as you, and you can meet with them regularly, like every week, to revise your materials together. And I think so that's the first thing lah, have a support system. Number two, I think, is to plan small rewards for yourself as you study, because studying medicine is not like studying mathematics, engineering, or any other subjects. It's, in my opinion, like those fields are a lot more difficult to study than medicine, because with medicine it's mostly you just it's mostly knowing the name of things, and it's very easy to understand in small parts, but you just have too much to learn. So you need to be able to pace yourselves. And number three, I guess, stay connected with your friends and family from home, so that you know why you're there, and you know that a lot of taxpayers' money are invested in you, so you have that sense of responsibility to study. Yeah. But that's not to say that you should not enjoy yourself. Do enjoy yourself, do travel, do make new friends, but have a support system to keep you accountable. Yeah.
All right, I think we are already at the end of this sharing sessions. I would like to thank Mr. Hazwan for the sharing session. I think it's very exciting and so banyak maklumat. Okay. Terima kasih juga kepada rakan-rakan strategi ANSARA Taiping, iaitu Unit Bimbingan dan Kaunseling MSM Taiping, Amans Media, TNF Energy Sendian Berhad, dan Outpost Taiping. Okay, untuk para pelajar SPM 2020, jangan lupa untuk taklimat Kolej Mara pada esok hari jam 10 pagi bersama dengan Master Series untuk program esok, iaitu Civil Engineering pada jam 9 malam. Itu sahaja untuk majlis kita pada hari ini. Kita tutup majlis kita dengan bacaan tasbih kafarah dan surah Al-As. Okey, sekian, terima kasih.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, students. Thank you.
You Hazwan. Thank you everyone.
Sama-sama.
Congratulations for your SPM.
Hai Cikgu Wan.
Well done, Hazwan.
Cikgu Wan.
Hai Cikgu Miss Wan.
Buat materialistik. Cikgu Wan sangat.
Yeah. Amboi-amboi behind belakang jambatan San Francisco.